Hello, welcome to Coffee and Conversation for ESL Listening. This is Danielle.
And this is Christina. Hi.
Hey, we have our second installment of our podcast today, and we are hoping that audio is going to be better. Fingers crossed, we've got some new equipment, so we hope it will be better. We hope you enjoy. So just a little recap what this is. We are just going to have a little conversation about a topic, and this is hopefully going to be great for advanced or upper intermediate speakers, learners of English, and good way to just hear natural conversation in ordinary talk, natural and authentic, and hopefully you'll learn some words, some phrases, and things like that. So enjoy. Today's topic is going to be vacations and travel. And kind of thought we would start this just because I just recently came back from a vacation. So it's a good topic.
Well, and it's a good topic because you always travel somewhere. You're always going. Anytime I talk to you, you always go somewhere. You go places. You look for new things. So this is a perfect topic to talk about with you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't feel like I really travel a lot. But believe me, I would love to travel more. But
yes.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Well, with COVID the last 2 years, nobody really went anywhere. So I think everyone's kind of feeling that itch, like I got to go somewhere, right?
That's true. That's true. I feel like everyone I talk to, they're trying to make plans to go anywhere, vacation or just a short trip. So yeah, I think so. I think staying in home for how many years? 2 years almost?
Yeah.
About 2 years, right? With the COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody's ready to get out.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, before we get talking about this, I thought I would mention something that I think people might find a little interesting. I talked to English learners from all over the world, and some people who are used to learning English from UK, for example, they get a little confused about our use of the word vacation. Yeah. Do you ever notice that?
I can see that. Yes.
Yeah. In the UK, they talk about going on holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about this, I always say, is very funny. We have a lot of different words in UK and United States, but sometimes we have the same word, but they mean something different, which makes it even more confusing, right? So we have the word holiday, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily go somewhere, right?
Right. In American English, holiday, it's more of a day off or celebration, right? When you say holiday, you think immediately celebration. We're going to celebrate something.
Right, exactly. And it could be that you have a day off of work, like for Christmas, you're probably off of work, but it could also be Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, So it's like a special calendar day, is holiday for us. And in the UK, a holiday means you're going somewhere. So just thought I would clear that up. For us, if you're going somewhere, you're going on vacation.
Right.
So I recently came back from my vacation. I took a cruise. Went for a week, and I won't say what cruise line because they will sue me.
Right. But where did you go? What was the route of the cruise?
It's actually very interesting because we were supposed to go to, now let me think about it, where it was. We were supposed to go to Bahamas.
Okay.
They have an island there. And U.S. Virgin Islands and British Virgin Islands. And that was going to be it. It was going to be 3 stops. And I thought, okay, that's good. I've never been to these places before, so cool. Well, as COVID turns everything upside down, COVID turned that upside down as well. About 5 days before sailing, we get an email that, oh, guess what? We're not going to any of those places anymore. Yeah. So we ended up going to Bahamas, but another place.
Okay.
And then we went to 2 places in Mexico. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was kind of similar to the trip that we took 2 years ago, or 3, I guess it was 3 years ago now.
Right.
Yeah. So it felt very same. We were on the same ship. We went to the same ports. Sometimes we went to the same beaches. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
So I wonder what happened. Why did they change? Was that because of COVID and those places weren't open or weren't accepting people who are traveling? Or I wonder what
Yeah.
was the reason for that?
It wasn't very clear. And the funny thing was, not everybody even got notified about this change.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, so we were a group of 13, and only one of us received an email about it. And then when we got online just to check the schedule and everything, we're like, oh, yeah, we're not going there anymore. So it was very strange. Never did get an email. And if we hadn't, had some reason to go online to see our itinerary, we wouldn't have known.
Right. That is
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I would say probably February is a little bit chilly.
Chilly for that.
Yeah. I think maybe another month would have been perfect.
All right. So what was your favorite memory from that, or favorite part of that cruise?
Oh, well, it's hard to say. Just being together with my friends. I mean, we always have a great time no matter what we do. So it doesn't really matter. And I would say, what?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Your friends are fun.
It's all about the company, really, I say.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But probably we spent the day at the beach in Mexico, and that was a lot of fun. I would say that was good. And we did something we've never done before. We went to a very fancy French restaurant.
Ooh la la.
Yes, it was way way beyond my usual kind of meal, I got to tell you.
Really?
So we felt very special, very fancy. We got dressed up and we had like 10-course meal. I don't know what it was.
Oh my gosh.
And it was very expensive.
Well, I bet. 10-course meal. Usually, yeah, when you have like an upscale restaurant with all the fancy food, that would get quite pricey.
Yeah. And it just kept coming. The food kept coming. And we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. And one of my friends said, at this point, this is just becoming torture now.
Oh.
Too much food.
So you had kids in your party there, right?
Yes.
How did they do at this fancy restaurant with tons of food?
Well, the kids were not allowed in this restaurant. It was an adults only. So they did their own thing. They're a little bit older, so they can kind of take care of themselves.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So it was just well, that's nice. That's neat, though. Something a little different or special. And
sure, yeah. It's not the kind of thing you do, all the time.
So, anytime I think about trips and like us and all that, the first thing that comes to mind always is New Orleans.
I know, right?
And, like those memories sometimes pop up on your social media. And
right? Yeah.
It was recent. I think it was in March that we went there.
I think it was, yeah.
But I can't believe that it has been 12 years, I think.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
I believe it has.
Wow.
It has to be.
Oh my gosh.
So, but it was just to give a little backstory. I was going there with my husband and some of my in-laws just on a quick, I think it was a spring break right around my husband's birthday, little trip for a few days. And I think you were going with your friends there. Right. And we literally just found, I think we were at work talking about plans for spring break. We were in an elevator. And I said, oh, yeah, we're going to New Orleans. And you looked at me like, wait, we're going to New Orleans. And
that's so funny. I don't even remember.
And we then kind of planned to run into run into each other, in quotes. And sure enough, I mean, knowing you, the first thing we did, we went on this cemetery tour out of all
Of
things.
course. You know me.
But it was really, really neat. I really like that.
Yeah, it was cool.
So it was cool. And the food, of course, I mean, the best, I feel like sometimes the best part about traveling and going different places is you got to try the food. And
Oh, are
it's
you kidding?
always,
You know, it's so funny that you say that because when I tell people, when the people say, "Oh, where would you like to travel?" I say, "Well, it's like this. If I like the food from this place, I definitely want to go. If I don't like the food so much, it's a little bit lower on my list of priorities." So,
I
having
know.
said that, India and
Oh,
Italy.
yes.
That's where I would love to go.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, that would be really. But I mean, New Orleans, even like every
Oh,
place we went, the food was delicious.
it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just really well, and of course, you always have to try their beignets and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, the beignets. Yeah. One day we should do like a whole talk about a certain place like New Orleans and talk about the ins and outs, and
Oh
that
yes,
would be fun. Yeah.
yeah,
I
that
think,
would be really
I
nice.
think probably people would be interested, especially if they're new to the US or maybe they're listening to
And they
this
want to
from
travel.
outside the US to kind of
Yeah,
know a little bit more about some of our very uniquely American places. And
places.
I would
I
say New
agree.
Orleans is uniquely American.
Right. So have you been? I mean, besides like Bahamas and Mexico, have you been to other countries outside of the United States?
Yes. So let's see. A few years ago, I went to UK. I went to England, and I spent like almost 3 weeks there. That was really nice.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. How
Yeah.
was the food there?
You know, I'm gonna say a lot of people kind of can be not very kind, and they like to say that British food is not good. I'm here to tell you that is wrong. I'm actually vegetarian, so um, I'm quite happy anywhere that somebody will feed me vegetarian food. And it was amazing. Everything was really good. I could eat everywhere I went, so I was super happy about that. Yeah, I was quite
Excellent.
impressed with the food there. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So
I
then I went
yeah.
back to England again. I guess like now it's been right before the pandemic. It was
Okay.
the fall, right? So it was 2019. Yeah.
All right.
Went to London again. Went to France and went to Spain. Yeah.
Well, so you just had like a little trip to go
Yeah.
London and okay.
Yeah. So it was a little too short. I didn't get to spend as much time in France or Spain as I would like. So
I feel
definitely.
like it's, unless you go there and stay for months, I feel like it's always the trips are too short because you want to explore so much and see
Yeah.
so many things and try so many things. It's never enough time.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
it's easy to get sucked into going to those tourist trap kind of
Mhm.
places. We didn't do really any of that in France because we didn't go to Paris. It was pretty much all in the countryside. So,
Oh, great.
yeah,
I I've never been to France, but I've heard the countryside is beautiful there.
it is beautiful. And, I never, sorry guys, everything goes back to the food for me. Um, you'll quickly figure that out. But yeah, I knew people always talked about like, the food in France and the cheese and the bread and the wine and all of that stuff. Let me tell you, they're not kidding. Um, I went to it looked like a cafeteria.
Mhm.
It was like you grab a tray and you go and you pick stuff and, purchase it. It was like nothing. They sold wine there. Yeah, so I just got a couple little things. I got some bread and a couple packets of butter and, to go with my food. And let me tell you, it was the most delicious butter and bread I had ever had. And it so happened that it was really hot,
Mhm.
but I had extra butter left over and I was like, this butter is so good. I need to take it back with me. So I wrapped it up in napkins and shoved it in my purse. And I thought, okay, we'll be going home soon. I'll at least, put it in the fridge when we get there. No, we did not go home. We were kind of traveling around, and all of a sudden I was like, I think I probably have melted butter in my purse, so I quickly had to throw it away. And I was so sad. I was like, oh,
I
goodbye.
mean, I probably would be licking my napkins. Like, I'm not throwing this away.
So good. I'm sorry. We do not have butter like that here. I'm here to tell you.
Well, I feel like I know where I need to plan my next trip. I was, I don't know if I told you that, but so I have when I do my little workout in the basement, I have this program that works with your machine, and I get to travel this way because different workouts, like the trainers, they go to different countries and they do these tours, and you can either hike or walk or run and all these things. So I always that's the only thing that makes me work out, because I get to travel.
Yeah, you need encouragement. I know I do.
Like, I've been to Scottish Highlands through that program virtually. And I walked on streets of Istanbul, and I hiked in Swiss Alps. But one of the walking tours I did was in France, in this, it's called town of Carcassonne. And it's a town that's actually inside this medieval castle, like a fortress castle.
Cool.
And the first thing was I got off of that machine, I told my husband, like, I know where we're going next. He's like, where? I said, we're going to France. He goes, oh, you want to see Paris? I'm like, no. I want to go to this medieval castle that has a town inside of it. And it was beautiful. I mean, I want to say it was like 13th century castle, and beautifully preserved.
Wow.
Everything. It was just gorgeous. And it kind of sits on a hill. So then you see another town outside of it in a valley. I'm like, I'll hike that thing all day. Yeah. But it was full of it was like a little neighborhoods, and it was full of little shops and restaurants and bakeries and like all these little neat little things.
Only you could stop and eat while you're doing that too, right?
Yeah. Reinforcements, refreshments, and walk.
Yes.
But I don't know. I've always been drawn to places, unique places, historic places when I travel. You're right. Like, when you go, sometimes some places get so touristy that it almost feels unauthentic.
Yeah.
Like, not natural. It's just made up, especially for people to see.
Exactly.
So, I mean, of course, there are a lot of landmarks and historical places that, you want to see, and they did become kind of a more touristy places. But I always like to look for something like unique and local. That's why, you know what? I think that's why being an ESL teacher there's another benefit to it, is you get to know people from all over the world.
Yes.
You kind of have an insight there. It's like, hey, you're from here. What is a good place there? Where would you go? You live. So you always get like a little inside tip, like where to go and what food to try. And so it's always, I think that's the fun thing we get as a benefit of being an ESL teacher.
Yeah, definitely. I have some French students too. Actually, they live here, and they were really excited when I was going to go to France. And in fact, most of them are from Toulouse. And we were going to be going through Toulouse, and some of them had moved back home already. And I was hoping to have a chance to stop and, just grab some coffee in Toulouse with them. I thought that would have been really cool. But
right.
Yeah, it didn't happen. I did get a chance to meet another one of my students in London. She lives in London. By the way, I teach online, so in case that wasn't clear. Yeah. So I meet all these students online, and it's really cool to think, I can travel, and if I can do it, meet up with them and get to know them in real life.
Right. So you've been to European countries. Obviously, you live in the United States, so you probably traveled here. Any other continents you've been to, or
no?
Well, Mexico. So
yeah, Mexico. But I got to tell you, I probably my favorite trip ever, and I definitely want to go back again, is Cuba.
Oh,
I went to Cuba 4 years ago.
I remember.
And
yeah.
and we spent a good amount of time. It was about 2 weeks, and we traveled, throughout, not the whole island, but, we got about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really the most amazing experience. I was just, didn't quite know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
And things were, it's definitely a different world there,
I bet.
But people were amazing. It was interesting because internet, I think maybe it's a little different now, but at the time, internet was a little bit tricky to get.
Mm-hmm.
You had to pay for these like calling card kind of things. And then you had to also be in a hotspot. So, you had to get the card and go like to a park or something like that. And maybe you would get online. So I really didn't have much internet. And I was actually so glad because it was nice, for a couple of weeks to not have any news because, sometimes you don't want to hear that.
Yeah. To be just, like they say, off grid a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I did feel like I was off the grid quite a bit. And it was nice. I liked it. But yeah, the people were amazing. The mojitos were great, and also the food. And yeah, and just the way of life was very interesting. They don't have all the things that we're used to. And so a lot of things, I say this a lot, and I don't know if this will make sense to you or anybody else, but there's a show called MacGyver, where like he was like trying to escape something, and he like uses whatever he can, he puts it together, and he makes like some kind of
very resourceful guy.
Resourceful, exactly. And that's how I felt there. It's like, man, they put anything together to make something, and they made it work. And yeah, and it's
and that's I understand that. I can see that because America is all about convenience.
Yeah.
Everything here is made for convenience. Everything's made for people to be comfortable. And in a lot of countries, that's not the case. You just make do with what you have and you figure things out, or, you do something else.
Exactly.
So I've noticed that when I moved originally to the United States.
Yeah. So tell me about some of your trips. Where have you gone that you've really loved?
So I feel like I always, I was like, okay, well, I don't travel as much as I would like to, but I have been to 3 continents.
Okay.
Because, I grew up in Ukraine, so
right.
That. And then in college, because I studied Uzbek language along with English, I spent 3 months in Uzbekistan.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. That's cool.
And, and it was, I was a student and we studied there. We lived there for the group of my classmates. We lived there for 3 months and we went to university, but we did get a chance to travel quite a bit. And like you said, Cuba is very different.
Right.
Same thing with Uzbekistan. It was very different from the place where I used to live and grew up and everything. But people were wonderful. They were so welcoming. And oh my gosh, Donielle, the food.
The food. I knew that was coming, the food.
I can still I remember the taste of their bread.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like when you have, like you can taste something that you, from memory, and it's like, wow.
Oh, it's amazing. It's still, I remember we lived in this little hostel because there was only 12 of us in the group. And every morning, the owners of that hostel, they served us breakfast. And every morning we had, so they bring a pile of this flat bread and put it in the middle of the table. And you have to share it. So you don't just take one, you literally rip off the piece and you pass it on to another person.
Oh, okay.
And then just everybody. So, and then with that bread, you had a little bowl, like a ramekin of fresh cream and a little bowl of homemade like cherry preserve.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me.
I know. I can still remember that. Like I still remember the taste of it. That was my best, most favorite food I've ever had. But everything
Wow.
tasted amazing. Just
Wow.
their national dishes, like anywhere we went, any restaurant we went, it was really good. The most interesting thing, we were there, it was March through beginning of June, and we were getting into hot months. Like it was already hot there. The weather was really warm compared to Ukraine or here even. And what I noticed that, people are drinking hot tea there all the time.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Right. And we were like, oh, what are you talking about? You got to drink some cold water or some iced water. It's hot outside. Well, eventually I started going to drink hot tea with people there. And I realized how smart they were because it's a dry heat. The weather is dry there.
Mm.
So when you drink hot drink, your body temperature balances out with the outside temperature and you do not feel thirsty anymore.
Okay.
You don't feel hot and you don't feel thirsty as much. So that's when I got into the whole thing of drinking hot tea in the summer.
Okay, but does that work in a humid place? Because I'm thinking South Alabama. I'm not trying to have hot tea. I don't think so.
Not as much here. It is extremely humid here. And I mean, even here in Illinois and Midwest, it is extremely humid here.
Yeah,
in the
it can
summer.
get humid there too.
Yeah, hot tea is not working well for me.
Yeah, no thanks.
But it was a really, really interesting trip. And like I said, the architecture is gorgeous there. The Eastern.
I don't know much about Uzbekistan.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but then after like a year after that, I traveled to the United States for a summer. Again, my last year of being a student. And again, it was a stark difference. Like Ukraine was one place, then you go to Uzbekistan. That was a very different culture and very different environment. And then I went to United States.
Though,
like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, I love different cultures.
Oh, it was amazing, like comparing all that. So, but I don't think I have a very favorite trip. I like to go different places. I like to try new things. I like to see new things. I like to meet people. In the United States, I try to travel as much as possible. I mean, I feel like sometimes it gets harder as you get busier with work and all that. But
and it's such a big country. It's hard to,
it is,
see all these
and
places.
It's wonderful.
And yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. But on the other hand, you feel like, well, there's only so many times I have to go somewhere, so I got to pick wisely.
Right. And I am more of a mountains person. So
are you?
Yes. Okay. I mean, yes, water, ocean, beach is nice, but I'd rather go to, Portland or like state of Washington and look at the mountains. Or I did go to Seattle a few years ago. Okay. And I really loved the city. I thought it was beautiful. And of course, the food was amazing.
I've heard that. Back to the food. Always the food.
Well, and I mean, when you go to Seattle, you have to go to that original place where the whole big coffee chain in the United States started. So I was like, I mean, Pike Place Market is great.
Yeah.
But I got to go there.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I also have very fond memories of going to Toronto in Canada.
That's another place I really would like to go. I've heard it's amazing.
Really nice. Beautiful place. A lot of things to see, a lot of places to go within Toronto. Extremely diverse.
Yeah,
it was what I've so heard. Nice to see that.
I love that.
And of course, I mean, every place you go, the food is great.
Yeah.
So, but it was just great. And it's a great city for walking.
Love that too.
Even though, how big it is, it's still really good for walking because you can get to a lot of places there. So, and people are wonderful. People are super friendly and nice and just fun.
Well, that's what they say about Canadians anyway. That's they're well known for being very friendly. So it's good to know that they held up to that reputation.
Right. New York, I always have really fond memories of New York and I want to go back because it's been a while since I've been to New York. But it's just always I live close to Chicago, so I can go there anytime I want. And it's a beautiful city. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of wonderful places in Chicago, but for some reason, New York kind of calls my heart sometimes.
I've never been to New York City, believe it or not. It's crazy. Yeah.
Maybe we can plan one of those run into each other trips there.
Yeah. Girls trip. We could do it.
Oh, we gotta
Yeah,
plan that.
definitely. It's definitely on my list of places that I need to go. I always find it funny that I've been to London twice and never to New York City. So, yeah. So speaking of that kind of thing, what's on your bucket list? I'd like to also talk about bucket list real quick. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
probably hear that expression, but just in case, bucket list is the list of places that you want to go. It comes
Before
from
you
the
kick the bucket.
expression kick the bucket, which is kind of a funny way of saying die.
Yep.
So the places are the things you want to do before you kick the bucket.
Oh, bucket list. It's long.
Yeah.
Gosh,
What?
it is long. My
Oh, I
bucket
thought you said it's
list.
gone. I'm like, oh my goodness, what do you
No,
mean?
no,
You've
it's
been everywhere.
long. No,
Yeah, I
bucket
hear
is
you.
still here. I have not kicked it yet.
Yeah, I didn't mean you were gone. I meant I thought you fulfilled all your wishes.
Oh, no. The bucket list is extremely long.
Okay.
And there's so many countries I want to go to. I definitely want to go to South American countries. I've never been to South America. Always wanted to travel there.
Yeah.
There is a lot of countries in Africa that I want to
Yeah.
go.
Amazing.
South Africa is one of them that I really wanted to visit. But we have so many students from Democratic Republic of Congo, from
Yeah.
Ghana, and they always talk about how beautiful their country is. So I want to go there too.
They do.
I
I
wanna
mean, you
visit,
can see
right.
just the love they have for their country.
Gosh,
And it makes me
amazing.
really so interested to, I would love to see that as well. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I want to go to India as well because their culture is just so rich
Yeah.
with everything. And all the students I met in my life from India are just wonderful. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, if there's so many wonderful people there, like, that would be
Right.
really. And but also, Japan is a great country to visit.
Yeah, that's an amazing place. Right. I
You
mean,
know,
talk
or
about polar opposite. You think about, some of the places we talked about being very, you don't have the modern conveniences, and then there's Japan.
there's Japan. So but wouldn't that be really interesting to go to a country that's, doesn't have the conveniences and then that stark difference to see between that
Yes.
and Japan. Like the next place to go is Japan.
Yeah.
I also want to go to Malaysia.
Okay.
One of my close friends just moved there.
Oh, wow.
She's from Poland, but she moved to Malaysia.
Oh,
And
I know who you're talking about
right.
from
And
the school.
right. Yeah, and
I don't know if we can say the
the
name.
stories she's telling me and the pictures and everything, it just seems like her life is she's settling in really well there and likes the culture and the surroundings and all that. So I thought that would be, but Europe. I mean, even though I lived in Ukraine all my life, I did not get a chance to travel
Yeah,
much in
sometimes that
Europe.
happens, like you're almost too close to a place and you're like, yeah, well, it's there,
Right,
Yeah.
right. And now I'm thinking, I am across the ocean.
Yeah.
And if I was there, all these countries are so close by, and so there's just a whole list of countries in Europe I want to visit.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm
Really.
afraid our episode
all of
will get really long if I start listing them all and all that.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me your number one country that you want to go to in Europe, I guess. That's
Oh, I think Scotland.
I want to go there too.
Always wanted to go to Scotland.
Yeah, I want to go there too.
There's
But
just something. I don't know if it's men in kilts, if
It
it's
must be accent for me. I mean,
oh, absolutely. I mean, there's that.
I don't know, people like British accents and stuff like that, but I am so fascinated with Scottish accent. I just love it. And
And
yeah,
again, their culture, their
green and beautiful.
history,
yeah,
just fascinating.
yeah.
So, what about you? What is on your bucket list? Where do you want to go?
Let's see. I would say, I kind of mentioned it, I think, at the top of the show here. I would say the two places would be India and
yeah, that's
Italy.
right. And Italy,
Yeah,
right?
I just, like I said, it's all about the food for me. No, I mean, I love all the other stuff too, but, got to make sure I can eat.
Well, of course.
But no, Italy just is amazing. I have a student in Milan, and she's funny too. She's always talking about food as well. And she's always saying, "You gotta
She
go
knows how to
there."
get to you.
Yeah, oh yeah. She likes food like me too. But yeah, she's always talking about, how I should go, and I'm like, I know, I want to, and yeah. So talk about rich history,
Oh, yes.
beautiful people, I believe, are friendly, and India. Wow, just completely different from anything I'm used to.
Right.
It's
Well,
amazing.
you are used to some of the Indian culture, right?
Well, yeah, I am. So, for those who don't know, my husband is from India, so I pretty much got the food down. I'm ready to go with the
Oh,
food.
and is that food delicious? I have to tell you
Yes.
guys that Donielle and her husband cooked some Indian food for us when we visited them. And oh my gosh, it is so good. It is
Well,
so
I
good.
mean, Indian food is just delicious. I mean, it's so flavorful and yum.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, so many things to visit there and see, and the music, the movies
Oh,
are fun too. I mean, yeah. So there's just a lot of things that I would like to see and
and
experience.
and it's just the outfits, the fashion, the
Yes,
color. Like
yes.
I feel like when I
Colors.
think of India, I always feel like colorful saris and elaborate and
Yeah,
intricate designs and
yeah, definitely. So apparently, we're going to be going to India sometime. I don't know, probably not this year, maybe next year. I don't know, but I am super looking forward to it. I think that would be very exciting.
well,
Yeah.
we will have to have a whole new episode for just India.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, looks
So,
like
well,
we're
I think we're kind of coming to the end of it here. I don't want to, take too much time, but I thought just to end this on a little fun note, if it's okay with you,
yeah.
I've got some would you rather questions. I can speak.
It's been a long day. It's
It
okay.
has would you rather questions,
Okay.
and we can talk about those if you have a minute here.
Sure.
Okay. Would you rather travel through time or travel through space?
Oh,
That's
that
a
is a difficult one because I would rather do both. But I know
really
I have to.
there's one clear answer for me.
Um, let's do space
Yeah, why space?
because that way I can see more.
Good point.
You
Yeah,
know, going through time is interesting because you can either see the past or the future,
yeah,
but the traveling part and being able to see more countries, just experience more things. I'd rather travel through space.
okay. Yeah, you're almost convincing me.
What about
Yeah,
you?
I would have said travel through time, just
Time.
because
Okay.
I'm fascinated with different periods of time and
Yeah.
history, and um, just everything. I watch old movies and I think, oh, how cool it would be if I was alive during this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
I can see that.
romanticizing a lot because there's probably lots of problems in those times, just like there are in our
Just like
times. But
anywhere. Yeah.
everywhere you go, but still, I mean, it seems really cool to me. Okay, what's next? Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Would you rather travel for 5 years in an RV? For those that don't know, recreational vehicle. That's those big things that you can drive around and plus live in.
Yeah. Kind of like a
5 years.
camper. Yeah.
What? Like a
Like
camper.
RV
Yeah, yeah, like
camper. Yeah.
sure. So 5 years in an RV or 5 years in a sailboat.
Oh, RV definitely.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh, RV for me. I like I
100%.
said, I'm not a big water person,
Right. Yeah, you did say
so I I don't want to be sick for 5 years on the boat in the.
Yeah, I get seasick too. And when I went on the cruise, actually, every time I go on a cruise, I have to do something because I'm always getting sick. And I put this little thing behind my ear. It's like a little sticker. And wow, it worked like miracles
Right.
the last time. So, but yeah, you're right. I don't want to be on the water for 5 years. My gosh.
Well, and it depends. I mean, if you like, even depends where you are. Like, if you're in the United States, Canada,
Yeah,
like this area, there's a lot you can see by just traveling 5 years in RV. Or even if you go
exactly.
to like Europe, Asia, there's a lot of things you can visit on land without having
Yeah.
to go into water.
I feel
You're
like
on
for
a
5 years,
sailboat.
you're just looking at water, right?
Right, right. So
It's like,
RV for sure.
yeah,
Plus, it's convenient.
yeah. Plus, you can go, stop and get something you need or want, or, you're on a
Right,
sailboat, you're
right.
stuck.
You're not stranded on a boat in the middle of ocean.
Stranded. Yeah, I don't want to be stranded anywhere. Thank you very much. Here's another good one. Would you rather spend 10 minutes on the moon or 2 weeks paid vacation in Europe? This is an easy one for me, too.
2 weeks paid vacation in Europe.
Heck yeah.
I mean, moon is cool and all that, but I still gotta get there.
That's exactly what stopped me. I was like, I know, I mean, I don't know in details, but I know that it is no picnic getting prepared to travel to the moon and getting there.
Yeah. And it's like 10 minutes? What am I
Yeah,
to
10
see in
minutes.
10 minutes there?
Well, I guess there isn't a lot to look at there. It's like, okay, there it
So,
is.
yeah, 2 weeks paid vacation in Europe. Yes, please. When
100%.
can I leave?
Yeah. Well, I know the answer to this one, so I won't ask you this one.
Oh,
Rather vacation to Italy or Hawaii. I guess I shouldn't say I know the answer. I assumed I did, but maybe I don't know. Which would you rather do? Have a vacation to Italy or a vacation to Hawaii?
well, that's a hard one because I want to go to both.
Yeah, me too.
I will have to pass on this one. I can't answer it.
Pass.
I really want to go to both.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Italy just because I keep saying I want to
Right.
go to Italy, but I'm like you, I want to go to both.
How about you go to Italy, I go to Hawaii, and then
Okay,
we can share.
sure.
And then
We're
next
okay.
time we switch.
That sounds perfect.
There we go.
Okay, well, one last one.
All
Okay.
right.
Would you rather be able to work from home, which a lot of us do now anyway, or travel the world for work? Two amazing options.
Yes, they are amazing. But I think I might choose travel the world for work.
I'm with you there. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have to
Excellent.
plan a vacation and, and have something more to talk about in a specific place that we've gone that we said that we love so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I've loved talking about traveling and vacation with you. We didn't even cover anything, hardly on my list, but maybe we'll have to have a part 2 sometime.
I think we should. I think it's just hard to talk about travel in,
Yeah,
half an hour. So there's so
It's
much.
a pretty big topic. Yeah, for
Right,
sure.
right.
Okay.
We could do part 2 to be continued.
To be continued. Sounds good. All right. Awesome talking to you. And goodbye to everyone out there. I hope you enjoyed this. And once again, we're going to have some show notes and some explanations of words or phrases. Maybe we'll have a little, I don't know, I can find some kind of grammar thing we can grab out of here. Depends on what we talked about. And we'll tailor it to that. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.